Hi, welcome to the second episode of The Electric Playground, a show that will take you inside the world of video games like no other channel has ever done before. Throw in music from the most popular video games, reviews of the hottest new and classic video games, and you got what we call The Electric Playground. I'm your host, Noah, and thanks for tuning in to WECS 90.1 FM Willimantic. Now, for this second episode, we're going to conclude video game franchises that need sequels and reboots. Now, number one on the list is one of the most content-filled games for the Sega Dreamcast that revolutionized and set the bar for the open-world genre, Shenmue. Now, Shenmue was released by Sega's legendary Yu Suzuki and his team at Sega AM2 in 1999 on Sega Dreamcast. This cinematic game was packed with realism that revolutionized the open-world genre, allowing players to freely explore and interact with the world of Shenmue. From the multitude of motion-captured characters to the texture mapping of the smallest item, this game contained 4 playable discs that had hundreds of hours of gameplay. Here is the theme to Shenmue, composed by Yuzo Koshiro, Earth and Sea. And that was Shenmue on the Sega Dreamcast. Now up next is Ridge Racer. Ridge Racer is a series of 3D arcade racing games developed and published by Namco for both the arcade and the PlayStation. In each of the games, players take part in street races set in the fictional Ridge City, while utilizing the concepts of drift racing to quickly traverse corners. Now, Ridge Racer 4 was the first game in the series that had an immersive Grand Prix mode that allowed players to select different teams that would affect the gameplay and progression of the racer. Now, here are 2 tracks from Ridge Racer 4, composed by Koji Nakagawa and Hiroshi Okubo, On Your Way and Naked Glow. And that was Ridge Racer. Now up next is Gex. Gex was another great platformer about a gecko with a passion for TV, developed by Crystal Dynamics, who worked on the Tomb Raider series released in 1994. The character was voiced by comedian Dana Gould. Gex was once the mascot for Crystal Dynamics in the mid to late 90s. Here is one of my favorite tracks from the game, New Cartoon Land, composed by Greg Weber. And that was Gex. Now we're going to spice things up a little bit here because we have one of two push tracks to play for tonight's show. So we're going to be playing You Are Alone by the Flaming Lips. This is from their album, The Terror. And welcome back to the show. We're going to continue with video games that need sequels or reboots. Now up next is one of my favorite games, Skull Monkeys. Skull Monkeys was a platformer created by Doug TenNapel, the creator of Earthworm Jim, and was released by DreamWorks Interactive in 1999. Now, what makes this game unique is not only the humor, but also the fact that the characters in the world of Skull Monkeys were created using clay, where the animators and designers used stop-motion animation to get every precise frame and expressions on the characters as funny as possible. Here is one of my favorite tracks from Skull Monkeys, composed by Terry Scott Taylor. This is She Reminded Me of Science. All right, and that was Skull Monkeys. Now, the time now is 9:28 p.m. It's Friday, so make sure that for those of you driving outside, please be careful. Temperature right now is 56.9 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, up next is a game which I love as well. It's called Spyro the Dragon. Spyro is a series of action platform games created by Sony's Insomniac Games. Similar to the Crash Bandicoot series, there are a total of 13 games, which include many sequels and even a crossover with the Crash Bandicoot franchise. Spyro's latest game, Skylanders, redesigned the character and removed characters of importance from earlier games, was well received by the general gamers, but hardcore fans such as myself want to see a return to the original roots of the series. Now here is Gateway to Glimmer Forest from Spyro 2, composed by Stuart Copeland. And that was Spyro the Dragon. Now, up next is, oh boy, this is one of my favorites, Pandemonium. Released in 1996 by Crystal Dynamics, it's Pandemonium. This is a platformer that not many people remember. Now, there were two playable characters that players get to select, Nikki, an acrobatic sorceress, and a court jester named Fargus, on a quest to save their kingdom. This was a 2.5D game, meaning that the characters and levels were created in 3D, but on a 2D plane, similar to the Donkey Kong series. Now, here are 2 tracks from Pandemonium, composed by Burke Trishman, Skull Fortress, and Hollow Stairway. That was Pandemonium. Oh, it brings back so many good memories. Now, up next is Rayman. Rayman is a platform game released by Ubisoft. It originally started off as a 2D platformer and was well received by the gaming publications. The sequel, Rayman 2: The Great Escape, released in 1998, moved the series into the 3D era, which added more variety to the gameplay. Rayman 2 was set in a dark, gritty, moody, and ominous environment unlike its predecessor. It tells the story of how the robot pirates invade and destroy his world, which greatly weakens Rayman's power, leading to his capture and his escape. Now, earlier this month, in September, Rayman fans such as myself celebrated the release of Rayman Legends for the current-gen systems. So we're talking about the Xbox 360, the PS3, the Wii U, the PlayStation Vita. But I'm hoping to see another Rayman game set in a moody and depressing environment. Here are two tracks from Rayman 2, composed by Eric Shevlar, Overworld and Woods of Light. And that was Rayman. Now, up next is Crash Twinsanity. Now, released in 2004 by Traveler's Tales, Crash Twinsanity was an attempt to bring the Crash Bandicoot series from the linear adventure to a more open-world free-roaming adventure. The game follows the adventures of our hero Crash and the main antagonist of the series, Dr. Neo Cortex, as they are forced to work together to stop the evil twins, a duo of mutant parrots who want to take control of the universe. This was the first game to include over-the-top humor as well as animation from Nickelodeon's Ren and Stimpy. Fans of the series loved this game as it felt like a next-generation Crash that we've all been waiting for. We hope that someday we'll see a more open Crash games in the future. Composed by Spiral Mouth, this is Insanity Island and Iceberg Lab.
Do
and that was Crash Twinsanity. Now, before we end tonight's show, we have one more push track. This is by Ty Segall, Sleeper. And that was Ty Segall, Sleeper. Now, we have one more track for you to enjoy, and it's from Cool Spot. Cool Spot was once a mascot for 7-Up, introduced in 1987. At around this time, the red spot in the 7-Up logo was given arms, legs, a mouth, and sunglasses. Released by Virgin Interactive in 1993, Cool Spot was a platformer in which the player controls Cool Spot, who can jump and attack by firing soda bubbles. The levels are a unique feature in the game because they were non-linear. Composed by Tommy Tallarico, this is the Rave Dance Tune. Enjoy. That's a wrap. If you like this week's episode, then you'll definitely love next week's show. So be sure to tune in every Friday from 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on WECS 90.1 FM Willimantic. See you next time on the Electric Playground.